Good afternoon to my Neapolitan fans. This is NeapolitanGal. I am on my way home from work and it's raining. It's not raining terribly bad, but I have a pet peeve for you. So this is one of my rants. If you've gone through my channel, you know I've got a few rants on there. This one's just right up the same alley. This is Southwest Florida. It rains 6 months out of the year usually, starting sometime in June, and it'll go through about October. For sometimes 5 months we'll get good rainstorms practically daily, and that keeps our water tables and everything up pretty well for the rest of the year. Dry summer just kills us in the winter time with fires. But my pet peeve with this rainy weather is much like you guys who live up north watching this, is people forget how to drive in rain, and they still drive like they're driving on dry land, forgetting that it takes additional time to stop when the road's wet, just like in the snow and the ice. People will drive super slow. When it's pouring down rain, they will throw on their flashers, which in our state, I'm not sure about everybody else, but in the state of Florida, it's illegal to use your emergency flashers if you're in motion, just because it's raining. If you've got mechanical difficulties, technically you're still not allowed to do it, but they're a little more lenient with that. Just because it's pouring down rain, that's not a good enough excuse to use your emergency flashers and hold up traffic. Also, what I'm running into a lot, and this spans all ages, is I'm running into people who are genuinely distressed by driving in the rain. I understand that that the driving in rain is a little more hazardous than driving on dry land. You still have the same dummies out there driving like idiots, and the difference is on dry land you got a little bit more stopping time than you do when the road is soaking wet and soaked with oil. But if you live in an area and have lived in an area your entire life for a very long time, and driven in these conditions, you really should be more acclimated to the weather that your area has. I've lived in my area of Florida for 33 years. My family moved here in 1986, but we are still from Florida. We are from Central Florida, and we get the same rains up there. We get some frost on the ground, mostly on the grass though, and on roofs. We don't really get so much frost on the ground, where on the roads itself, because it is still asphalt and our roads are really warm regardless. But I'm running into a lot of people lately of all age groups that are just totally freaked out and completely distressed by driving in our rain. And you either need to suck it up and know, hey, I gotta go get groceries, I've got plans to go out, this, that, or the other, I've got to drive home from work, I've got to drive to work, whatever it may be. But just because we got a little bit of water coming down from the sky doesn't mean that you've got to have a full-on panic attack and decide that there's just no way you're going out. If you are sick and you know that getting that cool rainwater on you will make you sicker, then by all means, hold off on going out. If you're ill and that rainwater on your head is going to make you sicker, hey, I completely understand. But when you have to function completely normally, it's not normal for you to bug out because of the weather. So I have people in my family, I have friends, relatives that they look at the radar map and first thing in the morning when they have evening plans and say, okay, well, this is supposed to come in at 5 o'clock. And at 5 o'clock, if this is still supposed to come in then, I don't want to be on the road with it. I can understand that to a point, but weather maps are subjective. They don't always give you the full picture. I've always said that's the one occupation you can be half right half the time and still get paid for it. That's my own little joke there about meteorology, even though I did want to be a meteorologist at one time in my life, but it wasn't for the fact that I could get away with stuff like that. It was more for the fact that I'm truly fascinated by the weather. I mean, I would go out and chase tornadoes, if I had the opportunity. But, if you live in an area that's wet like this, you live in Seattle, you live in Oregon, you live in Florida, any place that has a monsoon season, and you have been driving those monsoons for a long time, and you're used to driving in those monsoons, why all of a sudden, I mean, I can understand if you've been in an accident caused by the weather. People are less careful when the weather is off. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but push comes to shove, you still need to function normally. You can't let things get to you like that. It's going to rain. Up north, it's going to snow. The only time that you really should be completely off the roads when the weather is bad is when we've got bad weather. And I'm talking like down here every handful of years or so when we have a hurricane or a tropical storm that breezes by. Or out west or what have you, where you guys get tornadoes. Hey, yeah, stay off the roads when those types of natural disasters are here. But for everyday weather, you can't make yourself a hermit because Mother Nature wants to rain a little bit. You set plans, don't cancel plans just because of the weather. It's not only really annoying to everybody involved, but then everybody involved either has to go and make new plans or rain check it. And I personally despise rain checking anything like that. I much rather, if we've made plans, do it. Don't set plans if you are going to wig out, so to speak, over a little trickle. Even if it's a heavy rainstorm. If thunder and lightning, you're safe if you're in a car, for the most part. You're not 100% safe if you're in a car, but you are safe if you're in a car, for the most part. So you really need to, start, whoops, sorry about that. If you've made plans, keep them. If you have to leave a little bit earlier in the day to make those plans happen, do it. But to cancel plans because you're afraid of a little bit of rain, that's a little insane these days. So that's today's little rant, just under 9 minutes. Also, if you're on a highway system and you're coming up onto an on-ramp where cars are literally coming into the highway, and you are on that outside lane, if you are able to get into the next lane to your left, please do it. That's where you should be when you're coming onto emerging traffic. You should be getting completely out of their way so people have room to come up onto the highways, because they should not be stopping on ramps because you won't move out of their way. When you're coming up to an on-ramp long before you ever get there. So if you have to maneuver yourself around before you go up over the overpass towards the on-ramp, do it. I mean, where these on-ramps are. So you should be moving out of the way beforehand. And if you're one of those center lane drivers who like to ride someone's flank or blind spot, get out of the way. You can speed up a little bit, you can slow down a little bit, let the car in the right lane over so they're not causing pileups when there's plenty of room and plenty of time to know that it's time to change lanes. So, hey, you know what? There's these things in cars called indicators, blinkers. See that? Use them every time you're going to change the lane. If you're going to change the lane to the left, kick that blinker on. If you're going to change the lane to the right, kick that blinker on. Hey, guess what? If you've already gotten to change lanes or you've already turned, turn it off. Your blinkers will not automatically turn themselves off if you're not making at least a 90-degree turn. You have to do that on your own. So, but those are my little pet peeves when it comes to driving. Make sure you subscribe, click that bell, thumbs up, comment. Let me know what you'd like to hear me rant about next. And what you'd like to hear next, what you'd like to see me do. Again, I'm NeapolitanGal, Donna. You're my Neapolitans. And I'm glad you listened to me yap for the last little over 11 minutes. Have a great evening.